Hey there everybody, I'm Alicia and this is Plowin' Pantry, and today we are doing an update on the Every Bit Counts challenge. This is the third week update. If you are not familiar with the Every Bit Counts challenge, I do have my other videos linked in my preservation playlist, but this is a collaboration hosted every August from Three Rivers Homestead. I will link that channel below, where you try to preserve something every day in the month of August just to get that final push in of all the stuff coming in from the garden. And it really just matters. I noticed last year was my first year participating, and I noticed that I did preserve more, even though there was a lot of little bits here and there, and every bit really does count. It adds up. This week was a busy week with a lot of mostly canning, but it is not as much variety as my previous videos for August this year. So what happened this week, I'm going to call this week Chicken Week. My friend called me. She called me about some chickens at Tractor Supply, and I had just been thinking about her. I was like, hey, she will occasionally go up to an Amish store. We have two, not close to us, but in our general area. And one of them you can bulk buy bacon, which I have done with her. I think last August, actually, it was in one of my videos. And she will sometimes pick it up for me. And then she was going to another place that had chicken, a bulk buy of 40 pounds of chicken to a different Amish place. And while we were on the phone, I was like, hey, I meant to tell you next time you go do one of those orders, let me know. I'll go with you. And she said, her husband was with her. We're on our way right now to Troyer's to pick up chicken. Do you want me to see if they have another box for you? So she brought me a 40-pound box of chicken. It was not pasture raised or organic, but it is like no hormones, that kind of thing. So I spent a lot of this week doing various chicken things. So obviously the first thing I did was I started canning. I mostly use pints, so I canned a bunch of pints here. I have 3, 6, 9, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 pints of chicken and 3 quarts of chicken. I normally just do pints, but I decided since there are some things where I use 2 jars, that I would go ahead, since I had so much and I needed to put another batch in the canner, that I would just do a couple quarts as well. So while those are going in my big American, all-American canner, these were going in my little digital pressure canner. So 16 pints, 3 quarts, and then with the trimmings, I like to trim off the fat, and I was being just kind of general with like not caring if there was a little bit of flesh attached to it, and so I decided I would use that to make broth. And I have 5 quarts of broth here. I did 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah. I did not finish all of the trimmings with broth. So I had another quart here. This was 2 batches. I just put it in my Instant Pot. And I had another quart here, and before I canned it, I was like, you know what? I needed broth that night for dinner. We had a blessed day in the 70s and overcast. One day it was beautiful, and I wanted soup, and so I didn't can that one. So I had made 6 quarts of broth, but I just canned 5. And then I didn't use up all those trimmings, but I was done at that point. So I put a bag of trimmings in the deep freezer to make into broth some other time this year. And another thing I did on a different day, because this was like a multi-day thing, the chicken. And I have 4 bags here. I freeze dried some cooked shredded chicken. I just cooked a bunch of the chicken breasts in the Instant Pot, and then I put them in the freeze dryer. And I have 4 of these, they're like 8 by 10-ish bags. I decided to use that size because I think that will be the most useful moving forward to this. I wanted some shelf-stable chicken that was not in glass, like a little more solid, didn't weigh as much, didn't have to be on the same shelves, that kind of thing. Just more options as far as ease of use. So that was like 3.5 days I spent just processing chicken stuff. It was insane. Another thing I got done, I made myself a list here because I got confused. Pints, quarts, stock, freeze-dried chicken. The frozen trimmings are still in the freezer. Those probably won't come out until like October when I do a freezer challenge. I did that last year. I will do it again on here. I've done it many years, but I YouTubed it last year, and I will invite you along this year to do a freezer clean-out challenge in October. I'll explain that as we get closer. This is dehydrated onion. I took some of the onions that I had harvested from the garden and minced it and dehydrated it. I don't use a ton of dehydrated minced onion, so I was not making that much, but I kind of thought that I was filling up this jar, so I will probably do another tray or two next time I need something done in the dehydrator. I've got like an empty tray I can throw in there with something else. The one thing I do use this for is making my own dry onion soup mix, and I have a video with that I can link for you. If I run out, that's fine. I will buy minced dried onion, but I prefer to use, and if I grow onions, I prefer to use my onions. So I will probably add to this, but that is what that is. And then, oh, this one I did not can. This tomatoes I did not can this week. Last week I showed you tomatoes that I canned. I think I said I had 8 pints, and I was thinking when I did it, when I counted them, I was like, I thought I had 9 pints. I did. There was one hiding over in the corner of my cutting board. Just wanted to show it to you. That doesn't count for this week though. Also in the dehydrator, I did more zucchini chips. If you recall me talking about those last week, I played around a little bit. So this is a new jar. The jar I had last week is gone. We ate it. I shared it with a friend who was going to try it with squash, like regular yellow squash. I played around with flavors. So this is the one I made last week, and this was full. It's the same. It's just the vinegar and oil and salt. And then these, I tried my feast mode seasonings on. If you have not, I usually have a link for feast mode in my description box. They are seasoning blends that I absolutely love. They have clean ingredients. They're good. And I had a brand new one. It was sweet citrus dill. So I wanted to try that. And then I tried a tomato basil. These were good, but I have to say that I didn't really notice a huge flavor difference between these and the regular way. For some reason, it all comes out tasting almost the same. And so I will probably going forward just make these, because why use my more expensive seasoning if it's going to come out tasting the same? You know what I'm saying? So I did a dehydrator full of zucchini chips. There aren't many left of those, but there they are. And then in addition to that, I did some more flowers. Okay, so I had some calendula, and it wasn't that many. I had to trim off some dead, I didn't keep up, and I had to trim off some dead blossoms. I dehydrated the ones that I had with some more marigold heads I had to add to my jar. So it doesn't look that different than last week. I think I had like 5 new flower heads in here, and I need to go do that again. I really need to spend a day just harvesting in the garden. And then this is the marigolds. I did have some marigolds weren't separating well from the seed, and so I dumped them in my chicken jar. I also, in the same dehydrator load, did some rose petals from outside. So I give my chickens rose petals. They love them, and they're good for them. They have vitamin C. They're good for you too, not just chickens. And if you haven't seen me talk about this in previous videos, this is a jar for my chickens for winter that I just add to all summer long. When I dehydrate basil and I top off my jar and I've got a little bit left, I'll dump what's left in here. I didn't grow sunflowers this year. Normally I'll take my sunflower seeds and put some of them in here. I have so far got like basil, oregano, and parsley in here. I added some rose petals for winter, and then there's some dill in here too. And then because some of these were hard to separate from the little spiky seed piece, I just dumped them in here with this, which I haven't normally added marigolds to my chicken thing, but they love them. Normally, what I do with my marigolds is take them out of the flower beds at the end of summer and just dump them over the fence, and they just go crazy for them. But I pull out the whole plant and dump it there, and they like eat the whole plant down. So this is the first time I've added marigold petals or flowers to the winter mix, but it doesn't have much right now, but by the end of summer it will. It'll have little bits of dehydrated broccoli and kale and spinach and more herbs and flowers and everything, and it'll just be a random mix that I call my chicken winter treat mix. So got that done. So that is it for this past week. Got the pints of chicken, like a lot of pints of chicken. I'm super excited because I wanted to restock. Not that, it looks like a lot. It sounds like a lot, 16 pints of chicken. But if we were to only have our canned chicken to eat as protein, we'd go through it pretty quick. But 16 pints, 3 quarts, the 3 jars of zucchini chips, half a jar, so a pint of dehydrated, onions, 6 pints of chicken stock, the flowers. And one thing I did, I'm not sure if you count this. I kind of do, but I'm not sure if you count this. I did something So I did something with rice. And rice, normally you don't have to do something to preserve. It's already like in a dry state. You just have to store it well to keep. But sometimes when it comes to preservation, I think of it as getting something into the form that I'm going to most likely use it in. So one of the things I'm trying to do is make better lunch options for my husband and middle daughter, who both take care of their own lunches but don't do a very good job. And I wanted to come up with like a few dishes that had like a rice pilaf with a protein on top type thing. And so I investigated making my own of those, like Uncle Ben's 90-second microwave rice pouches. I've only ever used those once. They're not something we typically buy. They're expensive and they have junk in them, and I don't like heating my food in plastic. But I found this way to do it, and I kept one here. Looks like there's a lump. I made 6 of these. They're in the deep freezer. I just had one here to show you guys. But this is something like, it's a serving. I put it in single serving things, and you can just thaw it out the night before and then heat it for about the same time and have your own little rice pilaf. So this is an experiment. We'll see how it goes. But to me, it was something I did during my food preservation time, even though it wasn't like canning or dehydrating, and rice doesn't really need to be food preserved. I just wanted something, it's kind of like food prepping, but sometimes to me that overlaps with food preservation. So that's just that story with those in the freezer. I have also added several tomatoes, Amish paste tomatoes, finally coming in. I'm still trying to scare the birds away. I have added several tomatoes to my freezer bags in the freezer here that I just put in 2-3 a day as they come in, and pretty soon I'll be making some spaghetti sauce, maybe this week. Maybe I'll have that to show you next week. Anyway, that is this week's food preservation haul. I had struggled with the same word last week. Food preservation stash, what I'm getting in my pantry. Let me know what you guys have put up this week. If you want to see more videos with the Every Bit Counts challenge, you can not only check out my playlist, but also you can just search the hashtag Every Bit Counts challenge in YouTube, and you will find everybody's videos who is participating in the challenge. So it's not just me. There's a lot of people doing this. So if you like food preservation, search that hashtag. And thank you guys for joining me today. I will see you next week.